we've heard from Nasrallah saying that he and Hezbollah will not allow Israelis, some 6,000-7,000 who've been displaced from there, to return to that northern border. It's part of now Israel's war aim to make sure that area is safe.
Yeah, it's been interesting, that press conference, wasn't it? Because I think there was, first of all, it didn't mention anything about the recent bout of explosions that's been killing and injuring so many people. Talked a lot about hostages and their priority, and then suddenly introduced this new war aim of up to the north and restoring people, which, of course, sounds very provocative given everything else that's going on. So Nasrallah, I think it was no great surprise watching Nasrallah's conversation today, trying to talk his way through. I expected a fiery response. In fact, it wasn't that at all, was it? It was angry, but measured. It was admitting failings. And I think part of that is Israel has clearly pivoted from its focus on Hamas in Gaza, now largely finished there, moving up to strengthen the northern border, and therefore is trying to make clear to Hezbollah, if you're going to have a go, we're going to respond very robustly. And, of course, it's worth remembering that Israel is by far the more dominant military force in the region.
I mean, the difficulty is trying to pass the language, isn't it, and try and work out what it's meant to mean. I mean, could be a declaration of war. It is not very committal at all to whether or not you're willing to respond. But then later in the speech, he talks about a response will be coming, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard also saying that Israel will face a crushing response from the axis of resistance.
Yeah, but as a military guy, you've got to... So Hassan Nasrallah has clearly just seen the essential glue that holds the Hezbollah together, which is communications, command and control. That has just been destroyed. They had a brand new system in place which was designed to allow him to communicate throughout his organisation. How's he going to communicate now? So all of a sudden, he has no ability. He needs to hunker down and work out, first of all, how on earth they get a military capability sorted again, and secondly, how on earth they stop this sort of thing happening again. So as a result, I think there's a balance between fiery rhetoric, we're not going to let the guys come back into the north, but realistically, his options are somewhat limited unless they want to provoke an all-out war with Israel. And we've already seen that it looks highly unlikely that Israel actually wants to have a war, and Lebanon certainly doesn't want that.
No, but just before we were talking, Sean, as well, I broke the news that those 2 Israeli soldiers have been killed. The Israelis have now released the names of those 2 individuals, Sergeant Tomer Kenan, aged 20, and Major Nail Fouassi, aged 43. Both said to have died in combat in northern Israel, which I guess illustrates the fact that, regardless of what we think is it being a war of rockets and missiles going back and forth, there is actual fighting going on as well, maybe.
Yes, we've got to be careful to use combat, whether they actually mean hand-to-hand fighting, which is the implications, or whether it is actually you're serving your country and now rocket attacks hit your position. So I think we've got to be careful to discriminate there. We've been hearing reports overnight that both Israel and Hezbollah are busily fighting away, so we've got to be careful not to read too much into that.
Sean,